film begins with a drug lord named Moko talking on the phone with Azul, a man in prison. It was known that Moko and Azul know each other because Azul asks Moko to help him escape. But Moko has a different plan. He suggests Azul manage his drug business from inside the prison. While they are talking, Moko secretly sends his men to the prison to get rid of Azul. He even bribes a guard to let his men into Azul's cell. And Azul, who is smart and prepared, wakes up his cellmate and gets ready for the attack. As Moko hangs up the phone, his men rush towards Azul's cell. Azul and the other prisoners grab their weapons, ready to fight. They trap Moko's men in a holding cell. Azul then calls Moko and warns him that he will kill him when he gets out. To scare Moko, Azul lets him hear the sound of gunshots as his men attack. After taking down Moko's men, Azul escapes from prison, planning to get revenge on Moko for putting him there. Soon, Azul is picked up by his own men, who bring him a black guitar case. But this is no ordinary case, cause it's filled with all sorts of weapons. Azul is happy to see the guitar case and leaves with his men. The scene shifts to a lonely highway where a simple-looking young man in a white shirt and black trousers walks toward a small town. He is carrying a black guitar case. This young man, called El Mariachi, hopes to become a musician. When he gets to town, he stops at a small bar and orders a bottle of beer. Noticing the bar is a bit dull without music, Mariachi offers to play. He says he's really good at singing and playing guitar and can perform all kinds of songs. But the bartender turns him down and points to a man sitting in the corner, who is a keyboard player. After getting a nod from the bartender, the keyboard player starts to play, but his music is terrible. Even though Mariachi feels disappointed, he doesn't say anything and decides to look for another place that might hire him. Soon after Mariachi leaves the bar, Azul arrives carrying his own guitar case. With confidence, Azul orders a bottle of beer and starts asking around about Moko. When he realizes the people in the bar work for Moko, he opens his guitar case and he uses them to take out Moko's men in the bar. Hearing the gunshot, one of Moko's men, who was in the bathroom, comes out to see what's happening. But as soon as he sees his friends are all dead, he runs back into the bathroom. Azul follows him, gun in hand, and goes in to finish him off. After taking out Moko's men, Azul gets ready to leave. The bartender, scared and nervous, grabs the phone to call Moko. But just as he's about to make the call, Azul turns around and heads back to the bar. The bartender freezes, thinking Azul might kill him too. But instead, Azul just finishes his beer and pays for it before walking out. Once Azul leaves, the bartender quickly calls Moko to report that some of his men were killed by a guy with a black guitar case. Moko gets really angry when he hears this and realizes it was Azul. He calls his right-hand man, Bigotin, and orders him to find and kill Azul, who is known to carry a black guitar case full of weapons. At the same time, Mariachi tries to find work at another bar owned by Domino. But Domino also turns him down, though politely. Feeling let down, Mariachi goes to a small hotel to spend the night. He tells the hotel owner, Alberto, that he's looking for work and doesn't have enough money to pay for a room. And Alberto, who has heard from Bigotin about a man Moko is hunting, becomes suspicious of Mariachi because he also has a black guitar case, just like Azul. Even though he's suspicious, Alberto still rents a room to Mariachi but asks him to pay whatever money he has as a deposit. After Mariachi goes to his room, Alberto makes a phone call to report that someone matching the description is at his hotel. While in his room, Mariachi falls asleep and has a strange dream. In the dream, he meets a boy playing basketball. The boy rolls the basketball towards Mariachi, but when Mariachi reaches out to pick it up, the ball suddenly turns into a human head. Shocked and frightened, Mariachi wakes up from the nightmare. Not long after, Bigotin and his men showed up at the hotel after getting a call from Alberto about Mariachi being there. Mariachi, realizing they had arrived, stepped out of his room and overheard Alberto telling them to go to room number 10, which was his room. Hearing this, Mariachi panicked and quickly ran away, especially when he saw Bigotin and his men with weapons. After running a bit, he remembered he had left his guitar case back in the room. Trying not to get noticed, Mariachi sneaked back to the hotel. When he got there, he bumped into Bigotin and his men, but luckily they didn't recognize him because he wasn't wearing black anymore and didn't have his guitar case. He quickly grabbed his case from the room and put on a jacket to change his look, then left the room quietly. Alberto then whispered to Bigotin that the person they were after had just come back to the hotel. Soon after, Mariachi hurried to escape by climbing onto the balcony. Bigotin and his men shot at him over and over, but Mariachi managed to dodge every shot. He then spotted a cable stretching across the road and decided to use it to escape. Sliding down the cable, he landed right on top of a slow-moving bus. When the bus came to a stop, Mariachi jumped off, but Bigotin and his men kept chasing him. Just then, two of Bigotin's men tried to block Mariachi with their car. But with quick thinking and agility, Mariachi dodged them, causing them to accidentally shoot each other in the chaos. Soon after, Mariachi swung his guitar case at Bigotin, knocking him out. He then grabbed Bigotin's gun and used it to take down the remaining men. After defeating Bigotin and his men, Mariachi, still in shock from everything that happened, went back to Domino's bar. He told her about the crazy events he had just been through and how he suddenly got caught up in a dangerous situation he never wanted. Mariachi was confused about why they were after him, especially since he was just a newcomer in the city. He didn't know the people trying to kill him, so he asked Domino for help to hide him for a while. Upon hearing that, Domino felt sorry for Mariachi and believed he was telling the truth. She agreed to help him and told him he could rest at her house behind the bar. Not long after, Bigotin showed up at the bar and asked Domino about Mariachi. Trying to protect him, Domino lied to Bigotin, but Bigotin warned her that Mariachi was a dangerous man. Hearing this, Domino went to see Mariachi while he was taking a shower. She threatened him with a knife, demanding to know who he really was. There, Mariachi insisted he was just a musician and told Domino to check his guitar case if she didn't believe him. She opened the case and found only a guitar inside. Still unsure, she told him to play the guitar to prove it. Thankfully, Mariachi was a real musician and played the guitar beautifully, convincing Domino that he was innocent. Impressed by his talent, Domino decided to hire Mariachi as a part-time musician to entertain guests at her bar. That night, Mariachi got ready to perform for the first time at Domino's bar. He was a bit nervous at first, but he managed to calm down and started playing his guitar while singing. To everyone's surprise, his performance was amazing. Many people in the bar were captivated by his music, including Domino, who slowly began to have feelings for him. His incredible guitar skills and beautiful voice wowed the audience, and they even gave him a standing ovation. After the bar closed, Domino and Mariachi had a pleasant conversation, and it was clear they were starting to like each other. The next morning, Mariachi woke up feeling uneasy because of a scary dream he had. In the dream, he saw the boy with the basketball again, but this time the boy was holding a human head. Then, Mariachi found himself in an empty cemetery and saw a strange door. He felt like this dream was warning him that something bad was going to happen. Shortly after, he told Domino about it, and while she felt sorry for him, she didn't know how to help. And Mariachi, who had no money left, decided to leave his guitar case and jacket with Domino and went to the hotel to see Alberto. After Mariachi left, Domino secretly called Moco. At the hotel, Mariachi asked Alberto to give back the deposit he had paid since he wasn't staying there anymore. There, Alberto hesitated and made up an excuse, saying the drawer was broken and he couldn't open it. But Mariachi realized he was lying, opened the drawer himself, and took his money back. Before leaving, he counted the money and gave a small bill to Alberto. Not long after Mariachi left, Azul showed up at the bar and ordered a bottle of beer. After finishing his drink, he left but was stopped outside by Bigotin and his men. They pointed their guns at him and asked what was in his guitar case. Azul lied, saying it was just a guitar. When Bigotin opened the case, it really did have a guitar inside, so they let him go. Meanwhile, Mariachi saw Azul leaving the bar with a black guitar case and thought that Azul had stolen his. He rushed back into the bar and asked Domino for his jacket. He was angry because he believed his guitar case had been taken. But then, he noticed a black guitar case under the bar table. He picked it up but quickly realized it wasn't his case. Understanding that their guitar cases had been switched, Mariachi ran out to catch Azul. But before he could reach him, Bigotin and his men confronted him, so he had to run away. Trying to escape from Bigotin and his men, Mariachi found himself cornered. With no other choice, he opened Azul's guitar case and grabbed a weapon to defend himself. After defeating two of Bigotin's men, he felt more confident and went back to Domino's bar, carrying the weapon. Domino helped clean and bandage Mariachi's wounds from the fight. Meanwhile, Bigotin went to meet Moko and reported everything that had happened. And Moko, learning about the situation, called Domino. It turns out that Moko and Domino knew each other well, as Moko was the one who funded Domino's bar. Turns out, Moko had romantic feelings for Domino and wanted to talk with her longer, but since she was with Mariachi, she kept the conversation short and quickly ended the call. That night, Mariachi had another scary dream, but this time he saw Domino. In the dream, Domino was running through a cemetery, and Mariachi was chasing after her. When he finally caught up to her, he was shocked to see her face covered in blood. The nightmare jolted Mariachi awake, and he felt that something bad might happen to Domino. The next morning, Domino gave Mariachi some money to buy a new guitar since he had lost his. Mariachi didn't want to take the money at first, but Domino insisted, so he accepted it. When he went to buy a guitar at a music store, he was suddenly surprised by Bigotin, who tried to attack him. At that time, Mariachi quickly ran away and hid in the back of a yellow car passing by. What he didn't realize was that the driver of the car was one of Bigotin's men. When the car stopped, Bigotin's man beat Mariachi until he passed out. Soon after, they took Mariachi to Moko, thinking they had captured Azul. But when Moko saw Mariachi, he was surprised because he didn't know who Mariachi was. There, Moko got angry at Bigotin, telling him that Mariachi wasn't the guy he was looking for. So, Bigotin and his men dragged Mariachi away and dumped him in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, Azul went to Domino's bar to ask about Mariachi because their guitar cases had been swapped. There, Domino gave Azul the guitar case and asked where Mariachi was. Azul said if Domino wanted to find Mariachi, she would have to go with him to Moko's place, claiming that Moko had captured him. In reality, Azul just wanted to use Domino as bait to lure Moko out of hiding. When they got to Moko's place, Domino called Moko to come out. Suddenly, Azul took Domino hostage and threatened Moko, saying he'd hurt her if Moko didn't come out right away. At the same time, Mariachi rushed back to the bar, but the bartender told him that Domino had left with Azul to Moko's place. Hearing this, Mariachi hurried to save her. On the other hand, Moko and his men finally appeared, and Azul demanded that Moko give back all his money. At first, Moko, who liked Domino, was willing to give the money to Azul, so he'd let Domino go. But then, Moko realized that Domino had fallen for Mariachi, which made him extremely jealous. Filled with rage, Moko grabbed his gun and shot Domino. Then, he shot Azul to end their conflict. Shortly after, Mariachi arrived on Domino's motorcycle just in time to see what happened. At that time, he was devastated to find that Domino, the woman he loved, was gone. With a heavy heart, Mariachi held Domino close, hugging her cold body. He kissed her forehead as a final goodbye. Seeing this, Moko became furious and blamed Mariachi for what happened to Domino. In his anger, Moko insulted Mariachi's guitar playing, saying it was terrible. To make things worse, he shot Mariachi's left hand so he couldn't play the guitar anymore. Meanwhile, Mariachi, filled with rage and wanting revenge for Domino's death, grabbed a gun that was lying nearby. Without a second thought, he shot Moko and ended his life. And Moko's men, who were tired of being treated poorly by him, didn't care and walked away, leaving both Moko's body and the injured Mariachi behind. After everything, Mariachi left the town on Domino's motorbike, taking her dog and her letter opener as keepsakes to remember her by. His dreams of becoming a mariachi were crushed, and now his only protection for the future was the weapons from Azul's guitar case. Soon after, he rode off into the sunset, leaving his past behind. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is don't mix up your guitar cases at bars, or you might end up in a shootout instead of a jam session.